Hi guys. So i- in the previous video we have completed the architecture of this playlist. What are we going to create and what are the methods we are going to use? What are the resources? So in this video this is the coding video. So make sure you have there's prerequisite for this video. You have Node.js installed in your local machine 24 plus Node.js 20. Let me write it. Node.js 24 plus needed because we are going to create Lambda functions according to this versions. Lambda supports Node.js 24 plus versions. So make sure you have this and you have an AWS account because we are going to create an DynamoDB. In this video for testing we are going to create DynamoDB table by manually, but in the next video where we create the infrastructure, the whole infrastructure of this project in Terraform. So we will create the table by using Terraform. We will delete the table after this video. So for testing, in this video we are going to need the AWS account, and you also need the AWS account because where we are going to store the URLs. And yeah, that's it. There's two things needed and an ID installed. I will use the VS Code, Visual Studio Code by Microsoft, I think. So that's it. In the previous video, we have already understand about the architecture. So in this video, we are going to create these two Lambda functions, the shorten URL function, the redirect original URL function. So let's understand how we are going to create this. So it's easy. Let's say this is your shorten URL Lambda function. So when the user gives the long URL, so the when user gives the long URL in the front end input, then front end goes the front end request goes to the API gateway, AWS API gateway, from where there's the post request. The post request will invoke this shorten URL lambda function. Then in this URL lambda function, we are going to create a short code by using some library, and we will store that short code inside the DynamoDB. So what is Dynamo? It's a key value pair. So the key will be our short code. Let me write it. Key and value. So the key will be our primary key, that will be our short code, and the value will store the long URL we get. We create a short code for this URL, we stored inside this value. So the value will go the long URL, and we will create a index by which we can query if for this long URL already a short code is generated or not. For this we are going to create a GSI. What is GSI? A global secondary index with the name URL. So we will check first before creating this short code for this long URL. We will check if the short code is already generated for this URL or not. If it's already generated, we will retrieve that short code from this DynamoDB table and give it to the user back. Give it back to the user. Yeah, so that's going to be the architecture for this function. And for the redirect URL, so the user pastes the URL with our AWS API gateway URL and with the short code. So URL user will give the short code. We will find the short code and find their value, and we will redirect the user to their original destination. So so the redirect is this easy straightforward function. In this we are going to query some things. So let's get started. Without further ado, let's go to our IDE and make some functions. So let's create a folder like bit.ly clone cd bit.ly clone, and first we will make a folder url shorten function, and we will create second folder redirect url function. So that's going to be our two folders for now. Let's open in the IDE and let's set up our Node.js project. You can use Bun. I'm going to use the default TypeScript. You can use the one for the TypeScript. So open an integrated terminal. We are going to create this npm init -y. It has created the package lock function, and we will create a folder source. Inside the source we will create file index.ts. Let manually create index.ts. Before, we cannot run the ts file like this. If you see console.log hello, and if you write node index.ts, yeah, it's run, but we need a builder for that. I think they updated the node. For our safety, let's install the TypeScript. So what we have to do, we have to install the TypeScript npm install TypeScript. If your code runs without this, that's also fine. For my safety that I have used for so many years, I am using that method. If they changed, I don't know about it. So I'm using my default custom settings. Now I will run command npx tsc init. This will create a tsconfig file, and target choose ES 2020, and for the module choose CommonJS in the tsconfig file, because sometimes it gives error in the lambda, so that's why. If it works for you by the default settings, that's fine. I'm just using my brain memory that I've been using for so much time. Yeah, that's it. Now if I write, let me add a script dev npx tsc build npm run dev. It will make a dist folder. Yeah, so everything is working fine. Our TypeScript is, we have set up our TypeScript project. That's how you set up. You can use the bun, you just have to do bun in it and it will create the TypeScript project. So let's move further with the for the main thing for this URL function. So we have to install some dependencies or some libraries. So let's install this. So first dependency is AWS SDK client DynamoDB, and the second one is AWS SDK lib DynamoDB. So this lib DynamoDB helps give some functions to query the table easily. You can use this also, but this is much easier than this. By using this, we will set up our DynamoDB client in this Node.js project. So we also need that, and we will install some types of the Lambda. AWS Lambda, and we will install some types of node. So that's it. Now we have set up our TypeScript project successfully. Now go to your AWS console and search for DynamoDB, manage NoSQL database, view all tables. I've already created that, so let's create one more table. URL shortener yt or bit.ly yt. So what's going to be our primary key? We have already see. So that's short code is going to be our primary key. On the basis of that, we are going to find the value of this, and we are going to store the original value. So the short code is the primary key, not needed. Make sure it's type string. Create table. It will take some time. So let us complete our imports and the DynamoDB tables. For that, create a .env file in this function folder. We are going to use the table name. What's this? Bitly YT, I think. And let's import some functions from AWS client DB and DynamoDB client. AWS declared go to your package.json. The type will be module. Now what type it needed. So we will fix it later. So let's const db. Let's set up the client, new DynamoDB client and configurations. Our table has been created. You can see. First, let's set up our client and region AP South 1. We don't have to give the credentials because and it will not work locally, that I was saying. If you want to test it locally, you have to create a user. For that you have to give some permissions of the put query and get query, put command and get command, permissions for this DynamoDB table, and pasted the credentials of the user. What are we going to do in the next video? We are going to create a role for that, for this lambda functions, so it will and give the permissions to that role instead of giving the permission to a specific user. So that's why then this client will automatically picks up the role and authorized automatically with that, so don't need to give the credentials like secret access key and access key ID. Now import from lib DynamoDB document client const db doc client DynamoDB document client dot from and pass this db client as an argument, and that's it. Let me restart my just the index name, create index, attribute URL, that looks fine. It will also take some time, so in that time let's complete our function. So export const handler async And what's the type of that? It's the API proxy handler version 2, and we will expecting a event. Copy and paste, and what it will be return? It will return a promise. Yeah. So I have fixed this import issue by what I have done. I have give this the type common JS. Then I have changed the type to this node next, the default it was. To keep the default setting, just change this target ES2020. That's it. And this error, this will be gone by we have not added a return, so that's why it is giving error. So let's quickly do the steps. First, we have to get the URL, that the long URL that user will put inside the input box in the front end. That's the URL we will get inside this function by using the API gateway event. So request body, say any type, request body event dot body. If it is JSON dot parse, now let's fetch the URL. Now let's check if the short code is already generated for this URL or not. Existing await doc client dot send, and we have not imported the constable equal to process dot env dot table name npm install dot env for the environment variable to fetch the values from the environment variables. Let's import it. .env.config. Now the error is gone. Table name is correct. New query command. From this one, client DynamoDB, not this one. Give the table name. What's the table name? That's the table. And give the GSI name, that's the created, it is creating. It's what's the name, URL, and the type of this string URL, and key condition expression. So what will be the expression? It's like what's the format? This one, the hash one. So it means you are telling the DynamoDB, if you see this, and if you see this hash u, so go to the URL column, and this one is the default temporary value. Instead of pasting the long URL into the search, instead of searching by the long URL, we only search by this URL, and we will give the values. Next, what's the values? So key conditions, sorry, expressions attribute names, so that will be hash u. It means the URL column. So the hash u means if you see this hash u, go to this URL column header. This is just the short form, because in DynamoDB there are some reserves keywords. To prevent from this reserve keywords, we use that format. Now give the value. So this colon URL value is this URL. So that's the actual value, and that's the temporary value. Search by this value. If you find it, it's just a temporary value for that, for the original URL. If it is existing dot items and existing dot items dot length is greater than 0, so return status code. So give the status code 409 for the resource conflict, and give a body json dot stringify message already shortened, and give back the shortcode. So the existing dot items dot shortcode, that's the primary key. That's it. And now let's make the short code. If it's not exist, short code, for the short code, random words generator npm random word strings. This one, you use this random function, give the length of the string, it will give a random string. So copy that command, go to your IDE, paste the command, just import it, import random from generator and generate a 5 length random string. Now doc_client.send a command. What's the command? Is the put command. We have to give the table name and item. What's the short code? That's our primary key. And URL, that's the value. Return status code 200 body json.stringify message short code generated and give the short code. If it catches an error, so console.log error, return status code 500 body stringify message error as error dot message. That's our failed to save. This content is newer, please compare. Yeah, so our URL shorten function is created. We will check this code in the next video where we create the lambda functions. So that's our short code generator function. Now let's go to your redirect URL function, close all, copy the terminal, same step. In this we have to simply do the copy paste command, npm install TypeScript and install these packages. module module resolution node next. That's fine. mkdir source cd source and create a file index.ts. Copy this file, paste it right there. .env. We don't need this random and don't need this part. So what are we going to do? We will get the URL from the browser. User will put the URL, the shortcode URL in the browser, like the shorten.rsx-dev.co.in, that's my domain name, and the x543, that's the shortcode. So we have to get this shortcode from this URL. So we'll get this from the parameters, that's called parameters. You can get the shortcode by the query. It's not letting me type. Like this shortcode. So that's not looks good. This one looks fine and looks good, and that's how the bitly uses, I think. So now the fetch the shortcode, not URL, from the URL. Now shortcode by the event dot parameters dot shortcode. If the shortcode not exist, return 400 and body. You can give the HTML also here by giving the path, giving the headers like the content type text HTML, and show a beautiful page in your browser, like your logo and this shortcode not as. You can create a HTML file for that and paste it right there in the body, in the HTML, I think. Yeah, in the body you can put the HTML. Before that you have to give the headers like this: content type text as HTML. That's how you can do it. It's your task. I'm just simply giving a JSON stringify message invalid short code. Now let get the original URL. How you can get the original URL? By querying your table await doc client dot send new get command. Why it's not picking the types? New get command. What's the table name? It's the table. And what's the key? Key is the short code. That's our primary key. And what's the value? Just the short code. I think I have made some this. Yeah, everything's fine, no error. Yeah. Next, if we don't get this URL, original, not bull. If original URL dot item not exist, so return status code 404 body you can create a page for this also, like this invalid short code. So this is when so the message is mixed up, short code is not provided to fetch the original URL. You can make the pages for according to your preferences. I'm just creating a string json.stringify message invalid short code. That's it. Now what I have to do, we have to get the destination URL from this original URL item, const destination, and we have to redirect it, original URL dot item dot URL, and we have to return a success headers location. It's the destination. Oh, we have to give the 301. By using this 301 we can redirect the URL, redirect the shortcode URL to the original URL by using this location and using this status code. This status code is important, and give the cache control, no cache. That's it. You can give a body also if you want, so no need to give body just to avoid some chances of error, redirecting to destination. And that's how we created the redirect. Nothing we are doing, we are just getting the shortcode from the URL, we are checking if it's provided or not, then we are fetching the original value from the primary key. If the value not exist, that means invalid shortcode. You can give provide a HTML page like 404 not found, and by using this status code 301 and this headers location, we are the redirecting from the shortcode URL to the original URL. That's it, what we are doing, nothing complex. And in the URL shorten, what we are doing, first we are getting the URL from the body, because this URL will come from the front end input, then it goes to the, then it will invoke the API gateway post function, then it will invoke this function. So from the post HTTP API, in this API, using this API gateway, we are getting URL in the body, in the request body, and we are checking if if the shortcode for this URL already exists or not. Then we check if it is exist, then give the shortcode, the already generated shortcode. If it not exist, generate a new shortcode and insert inside the table and give the shortcode back to the user. That's it. So that's it for the video. In the next video we are going to create the infrastructure and we will check how will these things work. So in the next video you will see these two functions in action, and we will check the logs if any error comes in the CloudWatch. So that's it for the video. Make sure you like the video and share the playlist, and make sure you watch my other playlist also. Thank you.